breaking his silence.
Tanya, will you watch this episode of Spotlight last night, given that you won't?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to watch it. No, I don't want to. I don't want to platform Bruce Lehman. Sorry.
You're not interested in what went on behind the scenes, the allegations that your name is mentioned, footage that hadn't been seen before of the two of them walking into Parliament House?
No, I don't need to see that.
Just to get a fuller picture?
No, I'm not deciding the case here. This has gone through the courts, and the result is as the result is, and it makes no difference whether I watch it or not.
Given that you won't?
No.
Not interested in what went on behind the scenes, the allegations that your name is mentioned, footage that
your name is mentioned, footage that hadn't been.
I don't think that's a big issue. I think what is a much bigger issue is Katie Gallagher being the finance minister. If she was in correspondence with Brittany beforehand, I want to see all those emails, any of that correspondence, because Katie Gallagher was a finance minister that was responsible for the alleged $3 million payout. Now, that is a part that concerns me, and we need to get to the bottom of that. That's an awful lot of money, and we've just got to make sure that this is completely and utterly transparent, because it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. Let's find out about it.
Exactly, and I think that will be followed through in the coming days. Tanya, will you watch this episode?
The truth is, this honour belongs to Brittany. It belongs to a 26-year-old woman's unwavering courage. It belongs to a woman who said enough.
The answer you really need to think about is why didn't you press charges?
Yeah.
I have every confidence that you will answer that very eloquently.
Yeah.
But it's one you just need to really think about.
Yeah.
And you
whittle it down to a
but speak about the culture.
Yeah.
That, I don't want to put words in your mouth. If you can enunciate the fact that this place is all about suppression of people's natural sense of justice, because you see around you the way that this place works.
I was told by one of your senators 2 weeks before about what you were intending to do with the story in my office 2 weeks before.
Oh, I had no knowledge of this.
No one had any knowledge.
Okay. I had no knowledge of this.
How dare you?
Order. Now we will
it's
move.
All about protecting yourself.
We may suspend if we're going.
Did your colleague mislead Parliament?
No.
Well, from that vision, it shows that she clearly did.
It did not.
In terms of what I knew, I was aware of some allegations in the days leading up to the choice of Ms. Brittany Higgins to make those allegations public.
No one had any knowledge.
Okay. I had no knowledge of this.
How dare you?
Brittany Higgins reportedly has never made a claim for compensation from the government for what she has alleged to have endured in federal parliament. No claim has been lodged with the civil court. None. Now, she's been paid out, what we understand, is $3 million in damages by the federal government. But there's never been a claim. The government is also secretive about the amount that's been paid. Why? We also know that a claim can only really be assessed in mediation with the employing senators there. The employing senators have been excluded. They're not even part of the mediation. We also know that a case is not settled in such a way unless there is a severe risk of a negative finding against the government. Why would you settle if there's no negative risk? So that's never been proven because there's no claim. So the government has settled without talking to the employer, without having the employers involved. And what's more, this process, experts say, takes normally about 6 weeks or so. This was done in 1 day. 1 day to assess the whole thing. And then they won't tell us what's going on. So we're very, very suspicious.
Obviously they're rather derogatory and racist comments but what would you expect from individuals that belong to the woke class, and especially Channel 10? I mean, Channel 10, the project, have never been interested in certainly the view of a conservative Indigenous woman from outback Australia. They have not once demonstrated their interest in the concerns that I certainly raised.
Liberal Party handle has pre-selected over 20 new and wonderfully diverse and strong female candidates like, and what's her name, Nampinjamba? She's an
She
Indigenous
clearly got
woman.
Clearly it was the same thing.
That's the thing. It was, and that was, as soon as I looked at it, I thought, oh,
they've been pre-selected in unwinnable seats.
Yeah.
Gee, we know brown people. It's like, I'm not racist, I have a black friend. Yeah. That argument. I don't have his number. I don't have his number, but he knows me.
What's interesting about the whole thing, and I've revealed this on my radio show this morning, the $3 million compensation paid to Brittany Higgins, that was awarded after the trial was aborted. And we discovered in that trial that the detectives who are investigating from the Australian Federal Police found Brittany to be evasive and manipulative. That's not my view, that's what the AFP officers felt. So after the trial was aborted, then all of a sudden there was a rush off to mediation. Now in mediation, and I know you guys have gone through some mediation, it would normally take on a matter like this, a Commonwealth civil case, 6 weeks minimum. Well, in Brittany's case, it took one mediation meeting, and the ministers who used to be Brittany's bosses, they weren't allowed to be there. They weren't allowed to tell their side of the story. It was just one side of the story told, millions of dollars handed over.
But the real question now is, was Brittany Higgins paid off by the federal Labor government for bringing down the Morrison government by making out this case, and that the Morrison government was misogynist or neglected its duties to Brittany Higgins? That was a huge issue leading up to the federal election. Is this settlement by the Labor government rather, merely a settlement, a payout for helping to bring down the Morrison government? That's a question that validly has to be asked with so much secrecy by the Labor Party.
So what you're going to see more and more of with the things like this Wilkinson, Brittany Higgins thing coming out, what this is an energy that's going to manifest more and more, particularly over the course of this year. And what it is, it's the energy of the flip or the reversal. And I don't know if people watch my decode on the Never-Ending Story, but there's one of the most important parts of the movie is when he actually goes and views the mirror, and the mirror is a flip. It's a reversal. It's the mirror represents looking into the unknown world, or the connection between the physical and the spiritual realm, or also the alter ego. And this is why it's used in MK Ultra too. The mirror programming and things like, like David Bowie was like representing like the shattered mirror we see with Taylor Swift, and even Justin Timberlake did a song, Mirrors, I picture my mirror, that song. Anyway, like mirrors is like a key theme, and mirrors being the gateway into another realm, right? But what that represents in the movie is like, that's a flip, right? That's when things are about to be reversed and changed, just like the Lion King. So what happened in the Lion King when Mufasa is killed by his brother, and then it's flipped around to the end where Scar is exposed and dies at the hands of Simba. But the point in that movie where he develops the courage is when he looks into the water or the mirror and sees the alter ego, or the other part of himself, in which Simba sees his father Mufasa, right? So what we're seeing with the Wilkinson thing, this is the beginning of this energy of the flip or the reversal. And what it is, it's the energy of whatever they did or attempted to do gets put back on them. This is the energy of projection, where someone projects something that they're doing onto someone else, right? But it's a point of karma, and this is what I've mentioned before too about that that without getting woo-woo, people think you're talking New Age, but if you're talking about frequency vibration, all that really is a point of difference between a dark and light magnetism, that it's the difference between the two, or the timing between the two, becomes quicker. So that's all it is. So it's like, if you looked at the law of karma, that instead of karma playing out in cycles of like, like that America is ancient Rome and playing out that cycle into, thousands of years, that it's karma's playing out very quickly. And there's going to be many representations of this. If you follow American geopolitics, you'll see that what they do to Trump then comes back on them, onto Biden, right? We've seen that with like the papers and stuff that have, the documents, all that sort of stuff. The fact that Trump got put up for rape, and then Tara Reid comes out. Everything that's going from one is going to be flipped to the other. And this also ties into the pendulum swing, and what the pendulum swing, this is how it's working on distortions, that the pendulum is going to take from this side to the other side. So there's good aspects of it, and there's distortion aspects of it, but that's the energy that's coming out now. I'll leave it for this other video where I spoke about the book of Esther, the 17th book in the Bible, which is also the book of the flip or the reversal as well too. And this is why it's almost how a lot of the numerology that has light and dark meanings on either way is being reversed, right? So numbers and symbolism that they've hijacked is being taken back for its proper balanced purpose and meaning. So anyway, just a good example with the Wilkinson thing of how we're seeing it play out in real time, that what someone has planned to do against someone else is then being flipped on them. Watch that Bruce Lehrman interview. I wouldn't normally watch those things, but look, I'd actually say it was quite good. I enjoyed it. And the main takeaway I got from it is, and who's in the most trouble with all this thing, is that one prosecutor, Goldman, that he speaks of, but more importantly, Lisa Wilkinson, right? And it's quite interesting because I did a week of video about ASIO within the media. And I've said for a long time, Wilkinson's the best example of this. Now, not only, I'll add a couple of little bits. So Lisa Wilkinson, and now this is why she stood down. So she stood down about a month ago saying she's been because of bullying online or whatever. And they obviously knew this information was coming out, and if she was sitting on the project or whatever as it is now, she would have to answer these questions directly. And I don't know how you could answer these. Look, to me, it very, very much appears now. If people remember back when the Brittany Higgins stuff came out, right? It was around the same time there was allegations about Christian Porter, the Attorney General, and there was also around the exact same time there was allegations made by a whistleblower that politicians were having sex with, they call them rent boys, homosexual prostitutes, in the prayer room of Parliament House. They even had one whistleblower say that he was sending dick pics and fucking was ejaculating on one of the ministers' desks, and that this was kind of common practice, right? And if you think into how many openly gay ministers are there in Parliament, I mean, I don't know any. I think fucking Chris Pine was pretty gay. I think Albo's gay. Maybe is that Adam Brandt gay? I don't know. There's not that many, right? If any. So these are compromised as well. And if you're having sex with prostitutes, why would you be having them in Parliament House? You'd be doing it somewhere a bit more discreet, unless that's all part of the play and it's open slaver, and that's where they can be compromised.
Videos of senior government staff, so-called conservatives, performing sex acts, not just inside the building, but on the desk of a female MP. Also tonight, an informant tells us about a room where MPs and staff regularly go for sex. And he also claims sex workers have been brought into the building.
But anyway, those allegations were being made around the same time, and then also Grace Tame was also a big public figure at the time, and these cases can be done like the one they did in the UK that basically quashed all all the stuff when they were looking into the Westminster pedophile ring, and the Dickens dossier, that there was one guy that came out and made an allegation that was I can't remember his name, was basically proven to be false, and then it slammed everything. Now, look at I think there was so many agendas going on with the Higgins case, but if you watch this, the presentation they did last night, look, they've obviously skewed it a certain way, but like, to me, just looking at it all, it very much appears, based on what they showed, that Brittany Higgins is a fucking liar, and this Bruce Lehrmann guy was set up, and that Brittany Higgins was a plant. And that was a dangerous position we got to, where believe all women or believe all survivors, which is bullshit, because at the moment now she's come out with a $3 million payout after the case was dropped in court. And they said due to, something was leaked, but really what it was there was no standing fucking case anyway.
No claim has been lodged with the civil court. None. Now, she's being paid out, what we understand, is $3 million in damages by the federal government. But there's never been a claim.
Compensation payment is certainly going to be examined, and you've got to wonder, after a trial falls over, after the man who's accused says I'm innocent, after the police say that the key witness is evasive and manipulative, after the ministers who used to be Brittany's bosses were denied their chance to tell their side of the story, and after the money was handed over without an application going before the court for the money to be handed over, and it was granted in the space of one day, if you don't think that stinks, then you've obviously lost your sense of smell.
And Bruce actually explains here that his story hasn't changed, and the original ACT police that wrote the report wouldn't sign off for an arrest, because they basically said there's no evidence that any of this took place. And even the presentation they showed last night, that there was multiple things within Brittany Higgins' police statement that can be verified on camera and stuff that didn't happen. So anyway, it looks pretty bad for her. But the worst part is, so they went to the project, and Wilkinson is clearly coaching Brittany Higgins on what to say, what to bring up, and how to answer the fucking questions, right? Why would you need to be coaching this woman?
I put words in your mouth. If you can enunciate the fact that this place is all about suppression of people's natural sense of justice, because you see around you the way that this place works.
And then they mentioned Tanya Plibersek, that they were going to reach out to her to bring this up in Parliament question time and make an issue of it. Now, Plibersek was interviewed this morning, and they asked her, has she seen Bruce Lehrmann's testimony on the show last night? And she's like, no. And then she's like, oh, well, you're going to watch it for, like balance of opinion. And she's basically saying, no, I'm not. Well, not basically saying, she's saying, no, I'm not interested in it, I'm not going to watch it.
And will you watch this episode of Spotlight last night, given that you won't?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to watch it. No, I don't want to. I don't want to platform Bruce Lehrmann. Sorry.
You're not interested in what went on behind the scenes, the allegations that your name is mentioned, footage that hadn't been seen before of the two of them walking into Parliament House?
No, I don't need to see that.
Dismissed immediately, right? So she's basically saying that anyone can make an accusation about anything, and we believe them completely. And it is completely needs to be held to public scrutiny if you're an elected MP, because $3 million taxpayers' money was spent to pay out Brittany Higgins after the case was dismissed because there was no fucking evidence. And she got $3 million paid out by the government. But interesting, so this Bruce Lehrmann guy, right, he's basically, if you listen to the end of it, and I think the whole thing's just set up from the start, including Higgins and now what Bruce Lehrmann's going to be used for. And he said there's going to be a reckoning in the media, and that he's coming after a lot of people, not only in the media but in the judiciary. So look, but if you look at Wilkinson, and the other one too was, so Brittany Higgins was writing a book that they scrapped, and guess who was the ghostwriter who was writing it? Peter Fitzsimons, Lisa Wilkinson's husband. And I've mentioned Fitzsimons, but he's the most radical Marxist in the media. I don't know how the guy gets a platform. He's an old retired footballer and shitty author, and anyway, so yeah. But Fitzsimons, he played under Jones when Jones was caught in France, allegedly messing around with children in public toilets. He knows all about Alan Jones, and he's still friends with Alan Jones, right? Anyway, it looks really, really fucking bad for Lisa Wilkinson. There's no way she can come back from this. And if you look from the very start of it, it almost appears like a long-term hit job that they've done on Lisa Wilkinson, and it's brilliant. I said Lisa Wilkinson before. She was the youngest. This is how you know she's ASIO, right? Firstly, just all the positions that she holds and the positions she pushes, and this is what she was coaching Brittany Higgins into saying. You know, it's all about women and we need to protect women's rights and all this sort of bullshit, in a real disingenuous way, just like coldly and calculated coaching her. But she was the youngest female editor of Clio, that was started by Ida Buttrose, the head of the ABC. And Ida Buttrose came in the early 70s, starting Clio magazine as what they call in the intelligence world as a cutout. She was positioned there as a ASIO cutout, or any intelligence agency cutout, to run a feminist magazine around the same time that Gloria Steinem did the exact same thing in the USA that has come out, that is public knowledge, that was started and funded by the CIA. So they just ran the exact same operation here in Australia that they did over there in America, in the early first wave feminists, right? And Ida Buttrose was positioned to head that up and be the face for feminism in Australia, and then handed the baton over to Lisa Wilkinson. And Wilkinson came in, and her whole career basically started due to Ida Buttrose. And then she then eventually came onto television when she did Beauty and the Beast, also working with Ida Buttrose, and then got positioned into the modern day most extreme Marxist program, The Project. And look, she's been used for so many. Go look at the way that Lisa Wilkinson treated David Icke several years ago when he came to Australia. It's absolutely disgusting.
How does spacecraft move? Yeah.
No, a hollowed out space station is your theory.
So how does that move? How do spacecraft move?
You're the one with the theory, not me.
Yeah. You don't even know what my theories are.
You think that the moon is a hollowed
briefed
out...
this morning by a researcher. You don't know what my theories are.
I'm trying to understand it on behalf of the audience, so they can understand it.
I love it. I love these theories, but I'm not.
Therefore,
I'm not,
it's like
I'm not slugging people $100 to listen to my rubbish. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
You know, yeah.
Huh?
Wow, that's brilliant, mate. Well done.
No, I'm just...
That's the mainstream.
No,
that's the mainstream.
No,
you don't know it's rubbish.
No.
You've never read a book. You won't come and see the talk and see it all put together.
Well, you tell us, who are the aliens? Is Vladimir Putin an alien?
Well, Lisa, don't get too aggressive.
This is a joke.
No, I don't.
This is an absolute...
No,
come on.
It's fun.
This is a joke.
I'll tell you what... You shouldn't be getting angry.
I'll tell you what's...
Why are you getting so angry?
What's always also a joke? Because it's so serious to where human society is going.
Yeah, but you've got to defend what you're saying. Is Vladimir Putin an alien?
Let me put this into perspective. One of the things up there was 9/11, right?
Yeah.
To question 9/11 is kind of strange and a theory.
Yeah.
Right? Were there weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Were they?
No.
No. But we were told they were to justify mass slaughter of the innocent.
Yeah.
The same people, not the same agencies, the same people that told us there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to justify an invasion were the same people that told us the official story of 9/11. So why don't you question that when obviously you've been lied to on the other thing?
But she is a very highly skilled and highly trained presenter. She's very, very good. She knows what she's doing. She's very, very schooled. And there's this fake persona that she plays out, which I don't know how people can't see through it. It's very easy. But anyway, she's in fucking deep trouble here, and this guy should sue these people to the hilt. But the fact that Tanya Plibersek has come out and said that I'm not even going to look at the evidence, we've just paid $3 million of taxpayers' money, and this woman could be completely lying, and it looks like she's lying about the whole fucking thing. But yeah, don't worry. That's where we are in our modern world. I'm just going to believe the survivor, and I won't even listen to the other side. Yeah. And I'll just leave on this one because he did make an interesting point that there's going to be a reckoning in the media. And if anyone's followed anything, particularly the last 3 years, is that every agenda that is being pushed is being flipped and countered, right? Now you can debate what's doing that, who's doing that, or if that is just the energy that's coming in. Is that whatever is happening, that's the exposure that it's being flipped and reversed, and that it's a mirror and a projection of those that are accusing people that are responsible for the same crimes. So just take this into account. If this Bruce Lehrmann's innocent, and it does appear so, but if he is innocent, then why would they target a person that has just handed in their resignation, that said they were completely done with politics and was disgusted by the left and the right of politics, and that had handed in his resignation? And how does this tie into Plibersek and others, right? And relation to child abuse. Did this man have information that what was worrisome for the establishment? Was this man a future potential whistleblower? And was this why? Because he says he doesn't know why he's framed, right? Or why they would do it. But then he also says there's going to be a reckoning, and that he's going to go, and you haven't seen the end of him. So was he a future potential whistleblower? And this is why he's targeted. They've done this many times before, so keep that in mind.
Handle has pre-selected over 20 new and wonderfully diverse and strong female candidates, like, and what's her name, Nampinjamba. She's an Indigenous woman.
Clearly it was a safe seat.
That's the thing. It was, and that was as soon as I looked at it, I thought,
They've been pre-selected in unwinnable seats.
Yeah.
Gee, we know brown people.
It's like, I'm not racist, I have a black friend.
Yeah.
An argument.
I don't have his number.
How clean is black?
I don't have his number, but he knows me.